Hi,
Hi,
good,
Nick.
good. Hey, Tammy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another weekly events update here on the Supply Chainy Live channel. Today, we've got a special guest, Tammy, who is the president of ASCM Houston. Tammy, before we dig in any further, you want to go ahead and kind of let everyone know who you are and what you're all about?
Yes, so I have spent about formally 25 years in supply chain, oil and gas. Prior to that, I actually worked in a grants division of college, and I will argue to the death that that was also supply chain. If you're moving books and instructors, that's supply chain. So, anyway, that's what I did. I have a master's in supply chain. I love it so much. And I have just recently early retired, we'll say, and I now teach supply chain for a local community college.
Nice.
Community college myself, so big fan of helping out our local community college. So anyway, I've been involved with ASCM, Association for Supply Chain, for about 10 years, maybe 11. Prior to that, it was known as APICS, the American Production Inventory and Control Society. So been involved with that again through my company. My first foray in leadership, my boss was like, get one of these certifications. And didn't matter what else I had. They're very big proponents of that. So got involved, started with Women in Supply Chain. Houston actually had the first group, even beyond nationals 11 years ago. So got involved on the board, VP of Education, and now the sitting president. So this will be my second year coming up. Just won my election. Yay, me. So that's my background. Again, you can hear it supply chain. It's what I love, and even teaching. So, a little bit about our chapter. So, we are one of the few large chapters that still 100% volunteer. We pay an accountant and we pay a marketing team to help us. But other than that, it's us in the grind. There's 9 board of directors, and we have been around for 47 years. Our mission statement is empowering supply chain through education, technology, innovation, and collaboration. So that's a little bit about us. We actually have 6 student chapters that are very active through various colleges, looking to expand that because our territory actually is from Freeport, if you know anything about Texas, Freeport, all the way to New Orleans. So we've got a huge territory. Again, 500 members, so you can tell where they all come from. Most of them are Houston. So that's a little bit about us. It's important. Houston supply chain, if you think about it, we've got oil and gas, we have the aerospace industry, we have the health industry, healthcare, all of that. And now, I mean, we're our own industry. So if you look at, warehousing, Port of Houston is number 4 commercial in North America. So that's a little bit about us and why we think we're important for people to know about.
Awesome, awesome. I'm really glad to have you on to talk a little bit about that. The other reason why you were kind of coming on was to talk specifically about your top management night going on June 5th. Can you talk a little bit more
Yes.
about that?
Yeah, so that is our biggest event of the year. We have monthly professional development meetings. So if you've got a certification, and we offer those, and if you get that, you've got to do CE just like any other certifications. We have monthly meetings where we talk about leadership, trends in supply chain, but top management night is our biggest. The last 2 years, 3 years, we've had about 110 confirmed people who showed up to learn. We're going to be talking about how AI is empowering supply chain. So personal, I'm going to be learning too, but I can share my personal take on that. Nowadays, if you're looking for a job, chances are AI did the sorting. You might even talk to a chatbot. If you've had to deal with a chatbot just dealing with your internet company, you know that you have to learn how to speak to those chatbots. You got to learn their language. So it's no different in supply chain. So you've got contract negotiations that now happen through AI. Leadership's one of the best one. You need to write a difficult email to someone and you need it in writing. I'm a writer. I will write 4 paragraphs and needs to be 4 sentences. So personally, I've used AI to condense that down. help me get my point across. Again, leaders are going to listen to 3 to 5 sentences. That's all they're going to read. So if I need to have a difficult conversation managing up, I definitely want to get that condensed. So those are all the ways that I know, but we're going to learn more. And our speaker Jeff is really awesome because he's written a book on emotional intelligence. So he writes a lot on that. He's writing now, and he's a coder, so he's old school. Can write AI. So he's actually writing a book now about the intersectionality of EI. How do we make our AI more human? And again, let's learn for it to speak our language and us to speak it so we can get what we want. And that's actually the link to it. If you go to houston.ascm.org, you will find all of our events. In August, we have an event for Port of Houston. They're going to come and speak to us about the ports of the future again. That's the biggest trend, right? Is AI. Whether you're talking to, your 19-year-old child or you're talking to someone else much more senior, those are the things that people are talking about. How do we get AI to work for us? And how can we be better? Again, I can tell a couple stories about where I tried to do something through AI and I kept trying to tweak it and it got worse. And I learned start all over. And this is how I need to speak to it. So it's pretty interesting. And he is fantastic. He teaches at Rice, which is one of our colleges here. Well, I mean, it's an engineering college. It's very well known. But anyway, he's going to talk to us and he's going to bring his book. So I've got his book. I'm reading it now. Um, on further faster. How do we do that? How do we use that to get our careers, jump started or light speed?
Gotcha. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thanks for chatting a little bit about that. What we'll do now is kind of just go through other events, talk about what happened a little bit last week, do a recap, what's coming up, and feel free to hop in and jump into the conversation as I'm kind of doing this rundown real quick. Um,
Exciting.
all right. So first of all, just a quick shout out to CSCMP for being the sponsor, one of the sponsors for this calendar of events. They've got a couple of things that they want you to know about coming up. Specifically, if you kind of scroll down a bit, there is the State of Logistics report that is coming out on June 3rd. So that's really, really soon. And the other thing is their European conference that's occurring the 19th and 20th in Verona, Italy. And I'm excited to be there to provide some coverage for that event. So we've kind of gone through here and gotten to know Tammy and ASCM Houston. Let's take a quick look at what happened last week here in the supply chain world. I think probably the biggest event that a lot of folks were attending and that you might have seen a lot of buzz about was Home Delivery World, which was I fondly remember attending this event last year in Philadelphia. This year it was in Nashville. You can see Sophia there in the back and Maria here in the foreground. And so that was kind of the final mile home delivery sort of part of supply chain show that takes place every year. The other thing that occurred last week was we had two supply chain social club events. We had the Warehousing After Dark event, and we also had Global Trade Cafe. Had a record-setting turnout for the Warehousing After Dark event, where we had 63 registrations, and those 63 folks created 540 new connections through the event. We had three great sponsors: Noble Lift, Element Logic / Abco, now that they've been acquired by Element Logic, and Barcode Depot. We had people from across the U.S., across North America, and actually the world, because we often have Dylan calling in from London. It's a little bit late London time when it's 7 p.m. Central here in the U.S. But he drags up, gets out of bed, and joins us. Because I think maybe we have cool accents here in America they want to hear. So that was a great event that we had, and we will be having our next Supply Chain Social Club event will be live at work in New Orleans on the 9th. We'll be renting out the second floor of the Tropical Isle Hand Grenade on Bourbon Street. And so registrations are available for that. It is free. We're going to start about 8 p.m. And again, that is kind of calling all warehouse nerds and folks that will be at work in New Orleans next month. Anything that went on there in the Houston area last week or recently you want to that was
So
interesting?
actually, we did. We had Dimitri. I'm not going to ruin his last name either, like you
Uh-huh.
respected mine. But Dimitri with supply chain actually came and did a presentation. It was virtual. We have a lot of virtual, and anyone is welcome to join, much like yours, right? You just
Hmm.
sign up. But it talked about supplier relationships and what are the actual key. How do we set up our, our BPRs or business performance reviews? How do we have difficult conversations when things aren't going well? But how do we set up the metrics such that we know how are we doing? So that was really interesting. Again, that happened last Thursday. We had 46 registered and attended. So
Okay,
again,
all right.
supplier relationships, I mean, it's what gets us going
Nice.
and keeps our businesses running. So we had
Excellent.
that, and then we'll have top management night. Top management night is in person, um, and
Yeah,
then our
it's
next one we'll take off July and August. We will have the Port of Houston talking about ports of the future,
right.
probably in person at their facility.
Okay, okay. I just got to do a similar type of event with Port of Houston a month or two ago with ISM Houston, and we were there in the Port Authority's headquarters, and we got to go out on the boat on the channel and all that sort of good stuff. That was a good time.
That's a free thing to do. So if you
Hmm.
live in Houston or you're here, you just need to. I think you have to make a little bit. It's kind of like visiting DC. You can't show up that day. Maybe you can, but I've never heard anyone be able to do it. And I've taken that tour, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what is coming up this week and beyond. So, everything that we're going to be talking about is on the Supply Chain events calendar itself. So, you can always check this place out. So, first, we've got the Trophy Smack Tour and networking event going on. And you might wonder, like, what the heck is that? Well, Trophy Smack apparently is a Shark Tank contestant that was invested in by Mark Cuban. They specialize in like specialty sort of trophies, as you might imagine. And they've got their headquarters there in Southern California. And so they're going to do a tour of their facility and their warehouse and whatnot. And then there'll be some networking going on. So that seems kind of cool. Otherwise, here in DFW, there is the Sub Summit going on for a few days. I hadn't heard about this until just recently, but apparently this is dedicated to the whole concept of subscription type deals where you get a box of candles or something every month or whatnot. And so there is obviously a supply chain component to that. There's subscriptions that are like Netflix and Prime and HBO, I guess, where there's no physical delivery, but there is a delivery component to a lot of subscriptions. So that's going to be taking place here in DFW for a few days this week. In Chicago, we've got Manufacturing Live going on. I was kind of struggling to find like a lot of details about that, but that is clearly for the manufacturing part of supply chain, and that's going on there in Chicago for a few days again in the middle of the week. We've got this will be our second or third The Source at the Supply Chain Social Club, and that is our virtual networking event specifically for procurement and sourcing folks. And we partner up with a few ISM chapters to put that event together each month. And then, kind of wrapping up the end of the week, is the Revenue Engines kind of roving workshop that Kara's been putting on. That will be making its Dallas pit stop here on the 30th at the end of this week. And looking forward to seeing Kara and other folks here in town for that event. Um, that about wraps it up for what's going up this week. If we kind of look a little bit in the future, we can see that starting on June 1st, we've got ISM Worlds taking place in Orlando. ICPA, the International Compliance Professionals Association, is convening in Canada. And then Supply Chain Point is taking place in Bonita Springs. And we've got a bit of a busy June. I might just click over there real quick so you can just have a quick look at what is going on in June, and we'll be able to see that June 5th event for ASCM Houston once it loads. Tammy, did you get much storms last night? It was crazy here for
No,
us.
we only got sprinkling.
I think it's heading to you. Like so many storms come from Dallas and they just sweep down
Yes.
toward the Gulf. I think this is we got beat up by it last night, and I think it's heading your way. So you might want to,
I think I saw that on Tuesday,
yeah,
which is tomorrow.
yeah. So here's that look at June. So we can see that the first couple of weeks of June are really stacked up pretty high with events. Um, and it kind of slows down a little bit later on in June. I think as Tammy, as you mentioned, a lot of organizations and conferences start to realize that during the really peak summer months, folks start going on vacations and just not committing as much time to networking and business, and it's kind of that time to relax a bit and hang out with family and go see the world a bit. Do you have any?
I also think it's so for us, our fiscal year runs through June 30th.
Okay.
And so we tend to use July to get together, set up our strategic initiatives. And I think a lot of nonprofits now don't have their own, I mean, they have their own year, it's not a calendar year, their own
Uh,
fiscal year.
Makes
So it's a great
sense.
time. You're right. People are traveling. It's a great time to just sit down and get comfortable and say, okay, what do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish? And can we, meet our strategic visions?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We've got, I guess maybe one last quick hit is Change, which is hosted by ASCM.
It is.
Change's big conference is taking place June 17th and 18th in Brussels, Belgium. I'll be there on hand to capture kind of the energy of what's going on there at that conference. Looking forward to it. And then they're bringing that here to the U.S. The U.S. version of that will be September 9th and 10th in Columbus, Ohio.
And I will
Um,
see you there if you're there. That one I will be at.
I'll be
I
there
would
too.
love Brussels, Brett.
Uh-huh. So if there was anything that we missed today that we didn't catch on this calendar, feel free to drop a note in the comments. If it's your event, put a link to the registration page, or just let me know and we'll get it added to the calendar. Or if you want to step up and be brave, like Tammy did here today, and come live, chat about your organization, your event, let me know and we'll set that up as well. So until then, for all of you all out there growing your business and your networks, be safe and have fun out there.
Thank you.